Okay, today we will be finishing our math on SAG. This math 8.21. Okay, let's do. We have done this vertical SAG. Okay, let's do a math with both what? Both wind and ice. Okay, 8.21, 8.20. A transmission line has a span of 275 meter between level support, that is the L. The conductor has an effective diameter of 1.96 centimeter and weight of 0.865 kg per meter. So diameter is given, weights are given. This is W. This is W. What? This is normal W. W of the conductor. That means normal W actually. The actual weight of the material. The ultimate strength is 8060 kg. This is the ultimate strength. That means after this strength, your conductor will break. Okay. Normally we do not go up to this. We normally go half of it or 1/3 of it. That's why the safety factor is given. Safety factor is 2. That means we will go only half of it. That means tension is half of it. 4030. That is the tension, working tension. If the conductor has an ice coating of radial thickness of 1.27 centimeter and it's subjected to wind pressure of 3.9 gram per centimeter square of projected area, they calculate the sag of safety factor of 2. Weight of 1 cc, that means 1 centimeter cube of ice is 0.91 gram. That means everything is given. Let's calculate. Here span length is 125. Okay, that's we know. The conductor weight per length, per meter of length, W is equal to 0.865 kg. Now the conductor diameter is 1.96 gram, 1.96 centimeter actually. Ice coating thickness is T is equal to 1.27 centimeter. Everything is given actually. Working tension T is equal to 8060 divided by T, 4030 kg. The volume of volume of ice per meter, that is 100 centimeter length of conductor is pi t d plus t into 1000 centimeter cube. What is this? Now here what is given? Now remember this is your conductor, okay, and this is your ice. Let's say this is your ice. Got my point? This is your ice. Now, how can you find the volume of ice per meter conductor? How to find that? You can
By
find,
calculating the long length.
yeah, this is the length. Okay, this is the length. So how to find out these? Remember, your ice is this much, right? Ice is this much only, not the middle part. Middle part is the conductor. Now, how to calculate? Remember, here the volume is pi r square t, right? No, pi r square t, no, pi r square l, right? That is the whole. Remember, this r is total r. Okay, let's use another color. This r is the total one. Understand? Now you have to subtract the, what is that? The length as well. So pi, let's say this is R2, this is R1. Okay? So here what they did actually, they find the volume of ice per meter of 100 centimeter length of conductor, pi t. What is t? T is the radial thickness of ice coating. This is the thickness is given, thickness. And d plus t into 1000 centimeter. So how they got this formula? Anyone explain, please? This is related to the formula I have written earlier. So what I have written earlier, this one, pi R2. R2 is the biggest thickness, that is bigger thickness. This is the conductor. The whole is R2. The conductor thickness is R1. Okay, conductor thickness is R1. Understand? From there we can take pi common. We can take L common. You have R2 square, R1 square. You can take a formula. You can put a formula. Okay. Now this one is R1 plus R2. That is the that means this is diameter into plus T, right? This one. So look at this. This is the conductor. This is the ice. Okay. Now here, what we have to find out? See this. This is R2. Which one is R1? This one is R1. What is R2 actually? R2 is actually what? Your R1 plus T, right? Your R2 is actually R1 plus T. What T? T is the thickness of ice. Now, what is R2 plus R1? R2 plus R1 is equal to R1 plus R1 plus T, right? We can call it R1 plus R1 is equal to D. That is diameter. Diameter of the conductor. We can call it, right? Plus T. Okay. What about R2 minus R1? R2 is equal to R1 plus T. Minus R1, they will go out. So this value is T. So R2 plus R1 is equal to T. We can call it T. So pi L. R2 plus R1 is equal to D plus T. What is R2 plus R2 minus R1? That is T. So that is the volume. This is the formula you saw here. Pi L. L is equal to 100. That is here. T is here. D plus T. That is here. Okay. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So pi is here. T is 1.27. D is equal to 1.96. T is equal to 1.27. 100 is equal to 100 centimeter cube. So 1288 centimeter cube. Now weight of ice per meter length of conductor is Wi is equal to 0.9691 1288, because that was what? 0.91, that was what? That was 1 cc of ice, right? That is 1 cc of ice. What about 1288 cc? Cc means centimeter cube. That means centimeter cube, right? Same. For 1, it is 0.91. For 1288, it is multiplied. So 1172 gram. That means 1.127 kg. Now, wind force per meter of length, WW, is equal to pressure into D plus 2T into 100. Why? So, because, again, come here. This is your conductor. This is the ice, right? Now, see this. This is 1T. This is another T, and this is D. So here, what is the area where your wind will hit? What is the length where your wind will hit? T plus T plus D. That means D plus 2T. That is your length where that is your part where your wind will hit. Okay. So if you consider these, not like that. Okay, let's use a different color. Got my point? Now here, what wind will see? Wind will see a rectangle. When wind hit it, it will see a rectangle. It will not see a conductor. It will see a rectangle. What is the height of the rectangle? Height of the rectangle will be, this is T plus D, right? And what is the length? Length is 1 meter, because we are calculating for 1 meter, right? So that is the height. That is the rectangle. What is the area of the rectangle? The area of the rectangle will be 100 into D plus 2T. That is the area of the rectangle. Now that is the area. And what is the wind force? Remember, it is the wind force. Force is equal to pressure into area, right? Here, pressure into area, that is the formula. So pressure is 3.9, and the area is D plus 2T into 100. That is you got. Here, how much you got? 1755 gram, 1.755 kg. That is the WW. Now from here, you can find the WT, that is total W, is equal to root over W plus WI square divided by, plus WW square. So 0.865, 1.1272, 1172 whole square plus 1.755 whole square, 2.688 kg. Okay.
Sir, where the value of the pressure is found, sir? 3.9.
Okay, it is given. It is given in the question. Yeah, you can see.
Yes, sir.
Wind pressure. So you can find the WT. That is, you can now go for. Okay. Here the working stress. That means the working tension is equal to ultimate stress divided by safety factor. Okay. Working tension. Okay. What they said here? They said stress or tension. Okay, do not follow this. This is an example, okay? Do not follow this. This is an example. This is not for this example. This was for maybe this example. Yeah, this was for this example, okay? Not for this. Now here, sag WT, L square 8T. WT is equal to 2.688. L square is equal to 275 whole square. 8T is equal to 4030. 6.3 meters. Understood? That is a sag. 8.21, a transmission line has a span of 214 meters between level supports. The conductors have a cross-sectional area of, okay, you can do it by yourself. I want to do a sag that is in different level. This one is a very interesting math, and I love this math very much because I used to give this math when there was exam. Okay, right now I do not know, but this was a very favorite math of mine. Now here you can see a tower of height 30 meter and 90 meter respectively. That means you have two towers. Those are not equal. Those are unequal. One tower is very big, that is 90 meter. Another tower is small, that is 30 meter respectively. Support a transmission line conductor at a water crossing. That crossing means, what do you mean by water crossing? Water crossing means, let's say there is a river. One conductor is, one tower is at the other side, another tower is at the at this side. Okay, so this is the river. So water crossing, the horizontal distance between the tower. Horizontal distance means the length of the width of the what is that? The width of the river. Okay, the horizontal distance between towers is 500 meters. That is the width of the river. If the tension in the conductor is 1600 kg, find the minimum clearance of the conductor and water and the clearance midway between the support. Remember, now the sag will not occur at the middle, right?
Yes,
Agree?
sir. Yes.
Okay. Why? Because the towers are not equal. So sag will occur near the middle, near the smaller tower. Okay. The sag will occur near to the smaller tower. So what you have to find out? You have to find out two things. One is minimum clearance. That is the distance between the sag and the water. You have to find out the clearance. Okay, that is the minimum clearance, and the clearance midway between the support. That means when it is 250 meter, what will be the what? Okay, here they actually showed the point here. What will be the clearance of the midway? Midway means 250 meter, 250 meter. Okay. So that the when a what is that called? A ship goes. When a ship goes through the middle, can it go or not? Okay. This clearance calculation is very important because when there is a ship that is trying to go through the river, you have to provide the data. Okay, you can go or you cannot go. Got my point? So let's find out. Here L is equal to 500 meter, W is equal to 1.5, T is equal to 1600. Difference in level, that means H, 90 minus 30 equal to 60 meter. Let O be the lowest point of the conductor at distance x1 from tower 1 or x2 from tower 2. Okay. So obviously x1 plus x2 is equal to 500 meter. So this is your sag. So from point A to point O, that is your sag 1. Point B to point O, that is your sag 2. Okay, from sag 1 formula, we know S1 is equal to Wx square divided by 2T. Wait a second. Sag S1 is equal to Wx1 square divided by 2T. And sag 2, that means S2, is equal to Wx2 square divided by 2T. Okay? Those are the formula that we already know. Here, H is equal to S2 minus S1. So we'll put it there. So H, we already know that is 60. S2 is equal to Wx2 square divided by 2T, Wx1 square divided by 2T. From there, we can take W divided by 2T common. What do we have? X2 square minus X1 square. So X2 square minus X1 square, we can call it X2 plus X1, X2 minus X1. So X2 plus X1, we already know that is 500. X2 minus X1, that we do not know. We'll keep it like that. And we put everything on the other side. So 60, 2, T is equal to 1600, W is equal to 1.5 into 500. Why 500? Because that is the length. Okay? That is the length means X2 plus X1. That will go there. So what is the value of X2 minus X1? 256 meters. Now we know X2 plus X1 is equal to 500. What about, no, what about X2 minus X1? 256, right? that we found out. Now from here, can we find out x2 value? If you add those, you will have 2x2, and this will be gone, and your value will be 756. So your not 2x2 actually, it will be x1. Okay. From there, can we say x2 is equal to 576 divided by 2? So 378. Can we call it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So put this value here. So your x1 will come out. Your x1 will be 122. Okay? These are all meter. That means this is the distance. This is the distance from here, 122. And this is the distance, 378. Understand? Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now find the value of, yeah?
256.
Yeah?
256.
I didn't get your question. What you said? Hello? His net was making a problem, okay? Okay, no, he gives the chat. 256 from where? Oh, 256 is from here. 256 is from solving this equation. Here, which one is unknown? W is known, T is known, x2 plus x1 is known. The only unknown is x2 minus x1, okay? You keep it there and put everything on the other side, you will find 256. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, put the value of x1 here. Okay? So what is the sag? 7 meter. What sag? This small sag, not the bigger one. This sag is 7 meter. So what is the clearance between the midpoint? If this sag is 7 meter and the whole tower is 30 meter, what is the clearance at the lowest point? Because this is the lowest point, right? What is the clearance?
23, sir.
23. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
The clearance at the lowest point is 23. See that you got. Now, what is the clearance between midway? Midway is a bit different. Midway is different. How to find out? Let's put a point at the middle. Let's consider this is P. Okay? This is what? This is P. Now, you have to find out the clearance here, the distance here. So, let's say the distance between O and P is X. Okay? How much is X? Can anyone find out this? Do not see the book. Just say, how much is X?
X2 minus X1.
X2 minus X1? No. Ibrahim.
Yes, sir.
See, this value is how much?
122, sir. Yes,
okay, sir. Very good. How much is this value?
122 plus X.
No, that is I know, but in the in number, what is this value?
122, 500 minus 122.
No, not that. That is X2. This one is midway, right?
Yes, sir.
This point is midway, right?
Yes, sir.
Now what? Sujan, Abdullah.
378.
300?
78.
No. 378 is this one. This one is a midway point. Midway is half the distance, right?
250, sir. 22 minus 250.
Yes.
Sorry.
So this distance will be This distance will be 250 minus 122, right? It will be how
Yes,
much?
sir. 138.
128
yes.
or 38? Someone said
120.
128, right? Someone said 128?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who said 128? Okay, this is 128. If someone said 128, then that's he's correct. See, so the midpoint point, that means the distance from the O to that point is 128. Okay? Okay, my dear? This distance
Yes,
is 128.
yes, sir.
Now put a formula. Okay, put everything in the formula. For this point to that point, let's use a formula. Let's say S is equal to, not S1, not S2. Let's say S. S is equal to W x square, not L square. X square, not x1, not x2. It is x. It is a different calculation. Divided by 2t. Okay. What is W? W is 1.5 maybe. Oh my God. Oh my God. W is equal to 1.5. Yes. 1.5. X is equal to 128 square. 2t. 2 into t. T is equal to 1600. So if you do these, what is your value? 7.68, right? 7.68. Now this distance is from where? This distance is actually from this point to this point, this sag. Okay? This sag is from this point because we are calculating from this point. How? We are calculating this distance from this point to this point. So our sag will be this point to this point. Okay? This point to this point. Understand my point, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this point to this point, the value distance is, or the height distance is 7.68. That is the sag. Now, what is the clearance? Up to this, the clearance is how much?
23.
23 meter. So
Yes.
this is 23, right?
Yes, sir.
So if we add 7.68 with 23, that is the clearance, our midway.
Yeah. It will be 30.68.
30.68, exactly. So your clearance will be 30.68. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
This math is very important. You should practice this math. And I'm going to give you one more math. Okay, try this. 8.24 at home. Okay, 8.24 at home. Also, no, not this. This one is complicated. You try this, okay? You try these at home. These two math, 8.24, 8.25. If you find any difficulty, I will explain later. If you see this is easy, then we can skip it. Okay?
Okay, sir.
This
Inshallah.
two is your home study or self study. You study at home. Some mechanical principle you have to before designing the power line. You have to be considering these factors. One is tower height. What will be the height? Because tower height depends on your cost. Tower height depends on your aeroplane clearance. Tower height depends on your ground clearance and everything else. Next one is conductor clearance. Okay, to the ground. Then you have to calculate the sag and tension, because if you give more sag, that will increase the weight, and that will decrease the ground clearance, and that will increase the cost of insulation. If you use less sag, that will increase the tension. Okay, and you have to consider the installation season as well. If you install at winter season, obviously that will give you more sag in the what is that? In the summer season. If you install these at summer season, that will give you more tension in the winter season. Okay? So you have to calculate that as well. Then stringing chart means you have to balance the tension and sag with proper temperature, because less sag means more tension means less sag, more sag means less tension, and you have a temperature effect as well. So you have to balance your temperature, sag, and tension. Conductor spacing, the conductor vibration for wind. Okay, you have to consider those. So I believe this chapter is finished. Now we will do the electrical design. Let's see. This one. Okay, what is the skin effect? I'm not going to talk about more here. You can self-study this one. But skin effect is when a conductor is carrying steady state direct current, that means DC current. The current is uniformly distributed over the whole cross section of the conductor. That means when the conductor is carrying DC current, the whole conductor is carrying the current uniformly. Okay, the whole conductor is using the current, or the current is using the whole conductor uniformly. But when you are using, or when you are carrying DC current, no, AC current, that time what will happen? The current will flow more. Okay, no, not like that. Current will flow more. So what will happen? Why I have drawn this graph? You see, more current. Okay, let's draw with this. Okay, what will happen? More current will flow. That means the darker means more current, the lighter means less current. So more current will flow towards the skin, and less current will flow towards the center. Okay, this is called skin effect. Understand? At the middle there is no current flow. At the middle, can you see that there is no current flow? At the middle there is no current flow. Current flows over to the surface. That is called skin effect. This is due to the skin effect, the effective area. What is the problem of this one? The problem of this one is this part is useless, right? That means your effective area where the current is going is reduced. Consequently, the resistance of the conductor will be slightly increased. Why? Because you are not using some part of your conductor. That means your area. What is the formula of your resistance? Your resistance is actually rho L by A, right? Your rho is fixed, your L is fixed, your area is becoming reduced, right? The total, this was the total area, but this part is not being used. So your effective area is reduced. If this is reduced, your resistance goes up. If resistance goes up, your voltage drop. Goes up, right? That means your loss goes up. Understand my point? So this is called skin effect. So you can actually, okay. Skin effect depends on nature of material, diameter of the wire, increase with the diameter of the wire. If you increase the diameter, the skin effect will increase. Frequency, increase with the increase of the frequency. If you increase the frequency, your skin effect will increase. Shape of the wire, less of stranded conductor, than solid. Solid conductor has more skin effect. Stranded conductor has less skin effect. This is a good thing. This is a good thing that the stranded conductor has less skin effect. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, can the skin effect happen at AC current?
I didn't get it. You tell me again.
Yes, sir. Can the skin effect happen at AC current or only at DC current?
No. Skin effect happens only on AC current. Only in its AC, not in DC. DC do not have any skin effect. AC has a skin effect. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Because you see the frequency, DC do not have any frequency. Okay. If you increase frequency, your skin effect increases.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, my dear, do you know my family has been diagnosed with corona?
No, sir.
Okay, not we actually. I tested my father. Okay, and he was positive. That means we are certain that my mother and me and my brother, we all are positive. Okay, so pray for us. And our condition is good. My condition is good. My mother's condition is also good. But my father, he is alhamdulillah good, but not that much actually. So pray for him, pray for us actually. Okay.
Inshallah, sir. May Allah will give you help.
Okay. And while praying your salah, please remind us or remember us actually, not remind us, remember us.
Inshallah, sir. Every time we pray.
All right. Okay. Okay. Another flux linkage. No, this is not needed. We are here for designing the mechanical design. Not this, not this. We have more important things to do, more important things. Yes, loading now. No. Yeah, underground cable, new chapter. We'll start this chapter because this is a very small chapter. Actually, this is actually similar to your overhead system, but we need to learn some few points. Okay, underground. An underground system cable. Okay, essentially one of the more conductor covered with a suitable insulation, surrounded by the protecting cover. Obviously, because this will be underground, and your protecting cover and insulation should be there. Although several types of cables are available, the types of cable be used will depend upon the working voltage and service requirement. Okay, obviously the voltage value and the service you need, that will define what type of conductor you need. In general, a cable must fulfill the following necessary requirement. A conductor used in cable should be tinned, standard copper or aluminum of high conductivity. Okay, and standing is done so that the conductor may become flexible and carry more current. Standing means what? Standing means actually multiple conductors twisted together. Okay, the conductor size should be such that the cable carries the desired load current without overheating or cause a voltage drop within the permissible limit. Okay, the conductor size should be such that carries desired load current without overheating. Remember, overheating is an issue in the underground because you have insulation. Because if you have overheating, insulation will become what? Will melt. The conductor must have proper thickness of insulation in order to give high degree of safety and reliability at the voltage at which it is designed. Remember, in underground system, all of your phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, all of your phases will be together. All of your phases will be together. Otherwise, what will happen? You have to place your conductor at a distance, right? But that is not possible because this is underground. You cannot space your conductors. You have to mix them together. That's why you have to use proper thickness of insulation. The cable must be provided with suitable mechanical protection so that it may withstand with the rough use with laying it, it should have enough protection, because it will be under the ground. So over the ground, there will be buses, trucks, peoples, and a lot of soils. Okay, so that's why it should be strong enough. The mechanical used in manufacturing cable should be such that there is complete chemical and physical stability throughout, because it will be under the ground. Under the ground, there are lots of acids, alkalines, all those chemical things, and it should be free from chemical reaction. Okay. Okay. Before going into further, let's do one job. We were instructed. To give. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording for a second. Construction of cable. At first, you have to know the codes of our conductor. The middle part, that means that the main part is the conductor. So here you can see you have three conductor, 1, 2, 3. That means for three phase. This is a three-phase wire. Three wire. Okay, three-phase conductor, three-phase cable. So conductor 1, conductor 2, conductor 3. They are what? They are surrounded with paper insulation. This is paper insulation. What do you mean by paper insulation? Abdul Kadir, অথবা যারা বাঙালি আছো, তোমাদের বাসায় কি ডিসেল লাইন আছে?
না স্যার, নেই করতে হয় স্যার, এমবি কিনে করতে হয়।
Anyone has this line or cable line in your TV? Cable line, cable.
Yes, sir. The 3-pin.
No, not that. The cable line, where the programs or the channels are coming. The external line that comes from the outside. The signal line, actually. Okay, let me show you. This line that comes to the TV, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me, not that. What is inside? Yes.
TV cable.
Yes, this one. This is the thing I was wondering. See, if you cut the cable, what will happen? You will see there is a metal mesh, okay, metal cover. After that, you will see there is a wax, some sort of wax. Do you know wax? What is wax? Momchino.
Yes.
This is a paper mixed with wax. Okay, this is a paper. It is paper. It is plastic. This is not plastic. This is not plastic. This is not rubber. This is actually paper mixed with wax. মানে মোম দিয়ে মিশানো একটা paper. After that, you have a cable. Okay, this is the cover. This is the sheath. Sheath means metallic shield. Can you see the metallic shield? Okay. Next, you have dielectric insulation. That means this is called paper insulation. After that, you have your conductor. Okay. So exactly the same thing. You have a paper insulation. This is the paper insulation that wax mixed with wax. Okay. Then you have what? Then you have lead sheet. Lead sheet means this is a lead. This is a metal. This is a metal part. That is a metal cover or the metal protection. Next, you have bedding. Bedding is normally made of what is that? Jute. The bedding is made of jute or hessian. Hessian means you use t-shirt, right? You wear t-shirt.
Yes, sir.
T-shirt. This is some material like your t-shirt. That means t-shirt cloth. Okay. T-shirt cloth. Bedding. Bedding is a t-shirt cloth. After that, you have armoring. What is armoring? Armoring is like a cable, but not a cable. Okay, made of steel or aluminum. After that, you have serving. Okay, serving means the plastic cover. Okay, let me show you a picture. Then you will understand. Not this picture. Let's from Google picture. Underground cable layout. layer, let's say cross section. Yeah, here. Can you see this? This is the conductor. Then you have some sort of plastic. Then you have the paper insulation. This is the paper and wax. Okay. Then you have bedding. This is the bedding. This is black color thing. This is the bedding. Then you have armoring. This is the armoring. The armoring is given for what? The armoring is given for the protection of the strength. Okay, strength. Then you have lead. Then you have serving. Okay, understand?
Yes, sir.
So wait a second. Excuse me for 2 minutes. Now here it can be changed as well. So, sometimes this list sheet can be here, the serving can be here, or armoring can be here. Okay, it can be interchanged. Okay, got my point? So this is a single phase cable. You can have 3-phase cable as well, like this. You can have 3-phase cable like this as well. This is 3-phase cable. This one is a 3-phase cable. That means in one conductor you have 3 phases. Got my point? Like this: 3-phase, 3-phase, 3-phase. Okay. This one is much higher voltage. This one is less voltage. This one is normal use, and this can be like this as well. Like this as well. Okay. Not round shape. It can be like this as well. This can be like this as well. Okay, these are all underground cable. You can see this thing are armoring. So can you see some other outside cables, outside conductors? These are not conductors. These are actually for strength. Okay. Now, what are the materials that are used for insulations? Insulating materials of the cable. Obviously, it should have following properties: high insulation resistance. High insulation resistance to avoid leakage current, high dielectric strength to avoid electrical breakdown of the cable, high mechanical strength to withstand the mechanical handling of cable, non-gyroscopic, it should be absorb moisture from air or soil. The moisture tends to decrease the insulation resistance and hasten the breakdown of the cable. In case of insulating material is hygroscopic, it must be enclosed in a waterproof covering like lead sheet. Non-inflammable, obviously it cannot be inflammable. Normally the fire happens because of the short circuit. And when the short circuit happens when the conductor heats up and melts down the insulator and they touch each other, short circuit happens, fire happens, okay? And normally the 90% of the fire happens from the short circuit in the city. So it should be non-inflammable. Obviously, if it is non-inflammable, then you are safe. Low cost, so that it make the underground system a viable proposition. That means if the cost is much higher, nobody will use it. nobody will use it. Everybody will go for overhead. But what is the problem with overheads? The problem with overhead is it destroy the beauty of the city. Okay, and and it is a problematic one. Why? Because if there is a storm, the line can be line can be gone. Okay, if a tree breaks down and falls on the conductor, what will happen? It will break. Okay, so in case of what is that, underground, this problem doesn't happen. That's why underground system has a very good advantages over overhead system, but it should be low in cost. If it is not low in cost, nobody will use it. Okay, unaffected by acid and alkalis to avoid chemical reaction. So you are going to use the underground system for 50 years. Okay, you have to ensure this insulator will stand the acids or the alkalis in the soil for 50 years, right? It should not have any chemical reaction. Okay, no one insulating materials possesses all the above mentioned properties. Therefore, the type of insulation materials to be used depends upon the purpose for which the cable is required and the quality of the insulation to be aimed at. The principle of insulating material used in cables and rubbers: vulcanized India rubber or VIR, impregnated paper, varnished cambric or polyvinyl chloride. Now here, obviously, rubber is one very good source. Vulcanized India rubber, VIR, this is a very good source as well. Impregnated paper, that means the paper I have shown you. The impregnated means impregnated. What is the meaning of impregnated? Impregnated means mixing together or infusing. Okay, this thing, what is that? This thing is impregnated paper. Okay, this thing. So this is mixed with actually your what is that? Some sort of oil or wax. Okay. Varnished cambric, polyvinyl chloride, PVC. Obviously, this is PVC. This part is PVC. The black part is PVC. This black part is PVC. You understand PVC? PVC is actually plastic. Classification of cable. This is very important. This can be classified into 5 types. Low tension cable or LT cables. This is for 100. This is up to 100 volt. That means normal use. High tension cable or ST cable. This is up to 11 kilovolt. That means 11,000 volt. Super tension cable or ST cable from 22 kilovolt to 33 kilovolt. Extra high tension cable or EST cable, that is from 33 kilovolt to 66 kilovolt. And extra super voltage cable that is beyond 132 kilovolt. Okay, you understand? Okay, these determine the sizes of the cable. Okay, small size, big size, very big size. And you can have single core, 2 core, 3 core, 4 core cables. Okay, like the thing we have shown earlier. 3 phase, 2 phase, something like that. Okay, so there are some classifications and service like this. This is belted cables. Okay, 3 phase. This is screen cable, something like that, like this. There are some classifications. We can read those. These are not necessary for our course. Now this one, insulation resistance of a single core cable. We will read this. The insulation resistance of a single core cable. So let's say this is a single core cable. So we have time, or we should stop here?
Sir, we can continue.
Oh, we can continue. Okay.
Sir, I have one question regarding
Yeah?
this lecture.
Okay.
Sir, in underground, we know for transmission of lines, we need some elements like insulators, like light arresters. In where we will connect it for underground system?
Underground system.
Or how we use them?
Yeah, underground system do not need lightning arrestor because there is no lightning in underground. Okay. And yeah, for insulation material, for insulators, right? These insulators you do not need. Why you do not need? What is the purpose of the insulator? The purpose of the insulator is to hold the conductor over the head and connecting to the tower, but not by touching it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So here you do not need. They are lying in the ground. Okay. They are lying in the ground. But my point, you do not need those. You do not need tower. That's why some costs are reduced. But remember, normal conductors and the underground conductors, there are very big difference in price. Underground conductors are much costlier than overhead lines. But in case of overhead lines, you have to use much more things like insulators, like lightning arrestors, like towers and other things. Okay. So
Yes,
they have some advantage, they have some disadvantage. That is the thing. And this is you should choose which one we need. And there is a comparison between underground system and overhead system as well. Okay, let's see that first. Okay, let's see that first and read this later, because you have a math related to this topic. That's why we will read this later. No. Yeah, this one. Overhead versus underground, right? This is the chapter number 12, maybe. Yes, distribution system. Okay, let's read it. Overhead versus underground system. This is from the next chapter, but we will read it anyway. Public safety. Remind me that we have something left. That means insulation resistance. Okay, public safety. The underground system is more safe than overhead system because all distribution wiring is placed underground, and there are little chances of any hazard. Okay, obviously, because they are all underground, so nothing will happen to the public. Initial cost. The initial cost of underground system is more because this is more expensive due to the high cost of trenching. Trenching means you have to dig the soil, right? You have to cut the road, dig the soil, everything else. Conduits. Conduits means you have to make a cover. Then cables, manholes, and other special equipments. The initial cost of an underground system may be 5 to 10 times than the overhead system. Got my point? See, the initial cost of underground system is 5 to 10 times than overhead system. So why should people choose underground? Why should people choose underground? Okay, let me show you something. Okay. This was the road when it was. This is a road in Sylhet. Okay. So those who have gone to the Sylhet, you know it, right? This is the road of Sylhet. There were what? There were a lot of cables, right? This is all overhead cable. Can you see that?
Yes.
Butcher, you got it? There were actually overhead cables. Now what happens? They decided to go underground. Now look at them. They decided to go underground. Okay. Few months ago, they decided to go underground. See this. See the road. Can you see any cables?
No, sir.
Is it beautiful?
Yes.
This is much beautiful. Okay.
Yes.
So no cables. That means you can see the sky. You can take photos, no problem. So they actually go from here to here in 1 week. They decided they go from overhead to underground in 1 week. See the road was cut for the underground system, and then the road was developed again. So this is one example of what is that? The overhead system versus underground system. Okay, so initial cost might be bigger, but this will give you much more beauty, and this will give you what? This will give you much more longer service. Okay, we'll explain later. Flexibility. In case of overhead system, the flexibility is more. Why? Because you can change anything anytime. You can in the later case, the manholes, ducts, lines are permanently placed. Once installed, the load expansion can only be made by laying new lines. Okay. However, in overhead system, poles, wires, transformers, insulators that can be easily shifted to make the changes in load conductors conditions. Remember, I told you if you need more voltage, we can increase the voltage and increase the disk. In case of insulator, we can increase the disk, right?
Yes, sir.
But in case of underground, you cannot. You have to change the cable, or you have to lay the new cable. Faults. The chances of faults in underground systems are very rare. Okay? Chances of faults in underground are very rare. This is a very good advantage of underground. There are almost no faults. Okay? No faults. Because they are actually laid underground and generally provided are better insulations. Appearance. This is a very good advantage of underground as well. The general appearance of underground system is better as the distribution lines are invisible. The factors is exerting considerable public pressure on electric supply companies to switch over to underground system. This is a very good point, because actually public are now trying to go to underground. They are actually giving pressure to electric supply companies. Go underground, go underground, go underground. We do not need overhead. We do not need overhead, okay? Fault location and repairs. This is a very good advantage of overhead system. In case of overhead system, you can actually locate the fault. Okay, there is a short circuit. Okay, there is a tree that has fall. Okay, you know. But in case of underground, you actually do not know where the fault is located, where the short circuit happens, where the cracks happens. Okay, you do not know. Got my point? So you have to use special equipment to locate the fault in underground system. Current carrying capacity and voltage drop. An overhead system distribution conductor has a considerably higher current carrying capacity. Overhead carries more current because the conductor size is bigger. You do not have to give insulators, okay? But in case of underground, you have to give insulators, so you have to keep the current in mind. Okay, you cannot go beyond that, because if you go beyond that, your insulator will break. Your insulator will melt. Okay, you cannot give the underground system more current. Useful life. This is a very important thing. Normally, the overhead system has a useful life of 25 years, whereas the underground system may have a useful life of more than 50 years. Okay. Maintenance cost. Overhead system will break, will have fault, will have wind, will have ice, will have lightning, will have everything. Okay, that's why the maintenance cost in underground overhead system is more. But in case of underground, you install, you forget. Okay, so low maintenance cost in underground. Interference with communication circuit. The overhead system has interference with communication circuit. But in case of underground, since they are underground, since they have insulation, so they do not have any interference with what? Underground system. Okay. So which one is bigger? Which one is better?
Underground. Underground is better, sir.
Why? Underground will cost you more.
Behind the cost, sir, there is a lot of advantage.
Exactly. So you have to choose whether you spend the money and get the beauty, or you do not spend the money, get the ugliness. This is your choice. Okay. So certain advantages and disadvantages are there. So this is an economical decision, and this is an aesthetic decision, not an what is that? Electrical decision. No, this is not an electrical decision. This is an economic decision, and this is one aesthetic. Do you know what is aesthetic? Aesthetic means beautification. Aesthetic decision. So whether you want to make your city beautiful or not, this is the decision. Okay.
Yes.
So I believe we can stop here today.
Even there is no loss of life in underground.